What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Learn Japanese from Some Guy. Today, we're going to be looking at chapter 41, where we will learn how to ask for permission to do something with てもいい. So, I think one of the most important things you can learn with any language is, how to ask for permission to do something. So, if you find yourself traveling around Japan, this lesson will be extremely useful for you. And I think this lesson is quite easy because basically all we have to do is know how to conjugate a verb to the te form. So if you're not quite sure how to do that, be sure to check out my video on chapter 29. I'll put a link in the description for that if you need to refresh. But if you know how to conjugate to the te form, then you basically know how to do this, because all we have to do is append mo I to the te form of a verb, and that's how we can ask for permission, and that's it. So I'll break it down a little bit so it's a little easier to understand. But we already know, or we should know, that I means good. So when we ask something with te mo I, we're basically asking, like, is it good if I, and then verb. So of course in English this would sound very strange, but a more natural translation would be something like, is it okay if verb, or is it all right if verb, or more casually, can verb. So basically I means good. So when we ask in this way, it's asking, is it good if I do this? So we'll look at some conjugation. So again, we're just going to conjugate to the te form and then add mo I. So here we have kaku, kaite, kaite mo I. So okay to write. Taberu, tabete, tabete mo I. Yomu, 読んで、読んでもいい。考える、考えて、考えてもいい。買う、買って、買ってもいい。教える、教えて、教えてもいい。する、して、してもいい。And I think we have one more. 来る、来て、来てもいい。So, you'll notice that it doesn't matter if the verb is type 1, type 2, or type 3. It all works the exact same way. Just conjugate to the te form and add mo I, and we can ask for permission to do something. So as usual, I want you guys to practice a little bit yourselves. So first write the te form of the given verb, and then write the verb in the te mo I form. So remember, as you write, try to write in kanji, and of course, hiragana. And so pause the video here, answer these, and now we'll check. All right, so number one, we have harau, to pay. We get 払って、払ってもいい. Number two, 死ぬ、死んで、死んでもいい. 覚える、覚えて、覚えてもいい. 切る、来て、来てもいい. And the last one, 泳ぐ、泳いで、泳いでもいい. So hopefully you're able to get this again. If you're not quite sure how to conjugate to the te form, check out chapter 29 to review. But that's it. So with something like 来てもいい, we have like okay to wear, or 死んでもいい, okay to die. So maybe if you're playing a video game or something, you might use that. But anyway, now we're going to look at some example sentences, and you'll notice that when the subject is I, we don't need to include watashi in the sentence, so it's a much more natural way of speaking. You don't always have to say watashi. If you leave out the subject, it's assumed that it's you, it's watashi. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, here we have number one. このジュースを飲んでもいい? Can I drink this juice? And let's see, here we have a pro tip. So let's check out and see what it says. So in casual situations, we don't need to ask a question with ですか? So for example, if we wanted to say in number one, if we want to say このジュースを飲んでもいいですか? That's perfectly fine. But maybe I'm just talking to my friend, so I can just casually say このジュースを飲んでもいい? And I don't need ですか? And number two, ここに名前を書いてもいいですか? So is it all right if I write my name here? So 書いてもいい. Okay to write. Number three, 彼がテレビを消してもいいですか? So can he turn off the TV? Or is it good? Is it okay if he turns the TV off? And number four, 彼女もミーティングに来てもいいですか? So is it okay if she comes to the meeting too? So ミーティングに 来てもいいですか? So is it alright if she comes? Is it okay if she comes to the meeting? And that's it. So very, very simple. Just conjugate to the te form and add mo i, and we can ask a question if it's okay to do something. Okay, so of course, we aren't limited to just the affirmative. We can ask, permission to not do something. Okay, so in this case, we're just going to take the nai form of our verb, drop the trailing e character, and add kutemo ii. So some examples will help explain or clarify what I mean. So here we have our verb, kaku, and we want the nai form, so we get kakanai. We drop e and add kutemo ii. So we get kakanakutemo ii. So okay not to write. Or taberu, tabenai, tabenakutemo ii. Yomu, yomanai, yomanakutemo ii. Kangaeru, kangaenai, kangaenakutemo ii. Kao, kawanai, kawanakutemo ii. Oshieru, 教えない、教えなくてもいい。する、しない、しなくてもいい。And the last one, 来る、来ない、来なくてもいい。So it's essentially the exact same thing, except we're just conjugating to the nai form, and instead of adding just てもいい, we have to include the ku. Drop the e and add てもいい. So now we'll try some on our own. So we'll use the same verbs as before. They're kind of separated. So anyway, here's number one, harao. So write the nai form and the kutemo ii form, the negative form. So pause the video, answer this one. And then we'll look at the last four. So pause the video, answer these. So write the nai form here and the kutemo ii form here. All right, so now let's check. All right, so here we have number one. Again, we have harao. So we get harawanai. Harawanakutemo ii. So is it okay if I don't pay? Number two, shinu, shinanai, shinanakutemo ii. And in case you're wondering why I included shinu, I mentioned it before, but shinu is the only verb that ends with nu in Japanese. So in order to just kind of practice, with a verb that ends in nu, this is the only verb that I could choose. So that's why I chose it. So in case you're wondering. But anyway, number three, 覚える 覚えない、覚えなくてもいい。着る、着ない、着なくてもいい。泳ぐ、泳がない、泳がなくてもいい。And I'd also like to just mention right here that we aren't limited to just asking questions. So all these, this lesson is asking for permission. So of course, when you ask for permission, you're going to be asking a question. But you can also tell someone not doing something or doing something is okay. So maybe if you go out to lunch with a friend and, the check comes and your friend reaches for their wallet, you can say, yeah, harawanakutemo ii yo. Like, you don't have to pay. It's okay. Like, I'll pay. Or, if maybe you learn or you introduce someone and you say their name and you can tell their friend, harawanakutemo ii yo. Like, you don't have to remember his name. It's not important. So remember, you can give commands. You can tell someone that it's okay to do or not do something. But, this lesson is just focusing on asking for permission. So that's what we're doing. But I just wanted to point out that you could also tell someone, doing something or not doing something is okay. So anyway, now we're going to look at some example sentences using the negative form. So here we have number one, リポートを書かなくてもいいですか? So is it all right if I don't write the report? Number two, 彼女はこの本を読まなくてもいいですか? Is it okay if she doesn't read this book? Number three, 新しい車を買わなくてもいいですか? Is it okay if I don't buy a new car? Maybe I want to buy a used car. Number four, 寿司が好きじゃない。食べなくてもいいですか? Is it alright if I don't like sushi? Is it okay if I don't eat it? And number five, スミスさんもミーティングに来なくてもいいですか? So is it okay if Mr. Smith doesn't come to the meeting as well? So again, asking for permission to not do something with くてもいい. And of course, I'd also like to point out that there are more polite ways to ask for permission. As you can imagine, in Japanese, there are many ways to do something more politely. So we can also use てもよろしいですか? Or 手構いませんか? If we find ourselves in a kind of formal situation. So all of the above examples that we've seen can have てもいい replaced with temo yoroshii desu ka or temo kamaemasen ka, and the meaning will be the same. The only thing that changes is the level of politeness. So, for example, number 1, we have report wo kaite mo yoroshii desu ka? So maybe if I'm talking with my boss, I don't want to say kaite mo ii desu ka? That's a little too casual, right? I want to be more polite. My boss is socially higher than me, so I want to be polite. Kaite mo yoroshii desu ka? Number 2, 新しい車を買わなくても構いませんか? So 買わなくてもいいですか is fine, but again, maybe I'm talking to my boss or the president of the United States or whomever, so I want to say something politely. 買わなくても構いませんか? So would it be all right if I didn't buy a new car? So in English we have this kind of structure as well. Is it okay if I write the report versus would it be all right if I wrote the report? So you can kind of see this in the English translation as well. And number 3, タバコを吸っても構いませんか? So may I smoke? So not can I smoke or is it okay if I smoke? May I smoke? 吸っても構いませんか? So, that's kind of beyond the scope of this book, but it's worth mentioning that these are more polite ways to ask for permission. So if temo ii or nak temo ii is a little easy for you, maybe you can try using, te yoroshii desu, temo yoroshii desu ka, te kamaemasen ka. All right, so now we're going to look at some practice problems. So we're just basically going to translate the sentences into Japanese. So we have, for example, is it okay if I read this book? We have この本 and 読む. So この本を読んでもいいですか? So is it okay if I read this book? And if you wanted to be more polite, you could say この本を読んでも構いませんか? Or whatever. And let's see, the next one. Can he open the door? So we have 彼、ドア開ける。彼はドアを開けてもいいですか? So basically, we're just going to use what we learned, the temo ii, or the negative form, to ask permission to do or not do something. So here we have number 1. So pause the video, answer this one. 2, 3, and 4. Pause the video and answer these. And I think the last 3, 5, 6, and 7. Pause the video and answer these. All right, so now let's check our answers. All right, so here we have number 1. Is it okay if she doesn't study English? So 彼女は英語を勉強しなくてもいいですか? And number 2, can I use the telephone? 私は電話を借りてもいいですか? So the verb 借りる means to borrow. So this is a phrase that we can use. Let's see the pro tip. So it means to borrow, but when asking for permission to use someone's phone, it translates to use. Can I borrow your phone? Can I use your phone? That's fine either way. But it's also used when we want to, use someone's bathroom. So for example, if we're at someone's house and we could say, トイレを借りてもいいですか? So can I use your bathroom? So we're using the verb to borrow. So literally you're asking, can I borrow your bathroom? Which of course you probably wouldn't say in English. So you don't want to use the verb 使う, which means to use. When you're talking about using the bathroom, you want to use 借りる, which means to borrow. So トイレを借りてもいいですか? 携帯を借りてもいいですか? Just keep that in mind. Anyway, now number 3. Is it all right if I don't go to the concert? コンサートに行かなくてもいい? And notice we don't have ですか. It's perfectly fine. Number 4, may I use your pen? So here we have may I. So we have kind of a polite phrase. So we can use あなたのペンを使ってもよろしいですか? So of course if you want to say 使ってもいいですか, that's perfectly fine too. But just because we practice using よろしいですか, I thought it'd be okay to use here. Number 5, can I eat lunch? ランチを食べてもいい? And number 6, is it okay if he closes the door? So 彼はドアを閉めてもいいですか? And the last one, number 7, is it all right if she doesn't buy milk? 彼女は牛乳を買わなくてもいい? Is it all right if she doesn't buy milk? She wants to buy juice. All right, anyway, that's going to do it for today's lesson. Basically, here's what we learned. To ask for permission to do something, we simply add もい to the te form of our verb. So type 1, type 2, type 3, doesn't matter. In casual situations, it is not necessary to use ですか? In formal situations, we can use てもよろしいですか or て構いませんか? And To ask for permission to not do something, we use our verb's nai form as the base. So remember, 食べなくてもいいですか? For example, is it okay not to eat? And when the subject of a sentence is I, it is common not to use watashi. So a lot of the expressions or the example sentences I give in this book are kind of written in a more polite Japanese style, but it's not necessarily the most natural, because when you're talking with your friends, oftentimes you leave out the subject, or you don't use watashi. If you're a guy, you might use boku or ore. But just know that you can leave out watashi, and the subject is assumed to be you. So you often see this in casual Japanese. But anyway, now let's take a look at next week's lesson. So next time we'll look at chapter 42, and we're going to practice using until and by. So we'll know how to say something like, I need to finish my report by tomorrow night, or I have until next week to pay my phone bill, or whatever. So very, very useful lesson, and it's kind of easy to confuse until and by in Japanese because they're almost the exact same. So they sound very similar, and we'll take a look at that in more detail next week. But until then, thank you guys, as always, for watching, and thank you very much for subscribing, liking, commenting, and, as always, telling a friend. Word of mouth is kind of helping, my channel spread a little bit. But anyway, just any little bit helps. So I appreciate any, advice or feedback that I can get. And we'll see you guys next time. Mata ne.